Well, I'm here vibing with my sister, my blood sister, Jennifer Lewis, and we just going to talk about our childhood growing up and how she feel about life in general. So I would like you to just talk to the audience and just introduce yourself to real talk. This is a real talk.
As my brother said, my name is Jennifer Lewis. I've been married for 18 years, going on 19 years, with my husband for 30 years. Have one daughter and 3 stepkids and 6 grandchildren. And I am a realtor, cosmetologist, and PCT. At the moment, I'm here in Springfield, Massachusetts, visiting my family. My daughter had got married over the weekend, so we have a great family time. A lot of family, nieces, nephews from all over. And I am here this morning. Right now, I'm looking at my niece, who's pregnant. Can't wait to see the baby. My nephew, my husband is here with us, my sister-in-law, and one niece, and as you said, my brother is here on camera. So I'm just here, and he wanted us to talk about growing up. I was born in Jamaica, a place called Scarlet Avenue, and my mom had 4 kids. My dad joined also with my mom with 4 kids, and 3 of my siblings have just passed away over the years, so it's been a hard time on our family. But with God's grace, we are moving on. We're getting together each time for every occasion, and we're making the best of life. Those that passed on, we miss them very much, but there is life right now with our remaining family that we're having a great time, as I just said, with them. And my brother, is there anything you'd like to ask me specific?
Yes, so just tell us a little bit about your time growing up in Jamaica.
Well, grew up in Jamaica. I was the only daughter for my mother with 3 boys that I grew up around. And I was also like a mother to them because, as you know, in Jamaica, when you're the girl, you have to take over. And there's a lot of story about that I I can't start talk about because it's a lot to talk about, but I'll grow up as a mature woman for my family because I have to do it. My mom was sick, and I have to take control, taking care of especially my younger brother, Peter, that are not here, but he's in Jamaica at the moment. And growing up there, my brother Barry, that he can tell a little bit right now about himself, because I'm going to put him on spot now to talk about how he grew me up. So let's hear from you now, Barry. I'm the one mostly doing all the talking. So I want to hear a little bit how you grew up. Well, otherwise known, Jennifer Lewis, known as Miss P in Jamaica. A lot of people, if you ask for Jennifer, they don't know who you're talking about. I grew up by the name Miss P because the way I grew up like a woman. Not like some kids that run the street, and I grew up with a lot of responsibility. So I was known as Miss P / ageable.
Well, as the only sister against 3 of us, me, myself, and Neville and Peter. Peter was the youngest. And you being the only girl, we take a good care of you. You can't say that we did our best.
Yes.
That we to protect you.
Yes, I was very protected.
Very protected. Nobody could mess with you.
That is true.
Because you're the only girl. And I have to say, we wasn't rich, but I believe, in my estimation, we grew up in a home with love. I never see myself as one that having a great horror story to tell about my life. Growing up as a kid, most of my great memories, surrounded my grandmother, where my grandmother was one of the hardest working women, I know. Even up to this day, I don't think I see any man or any woman work as hard as her, because back in the day, I remember my grandmother used to burn coal. You go to the forest and you chop down the woods and you make a coal, they call it a coal scale, and they burn the coal. And
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
I'm the one that used to go with my grandmother all the time to do this hard work, and that's where I get to have a great bond with my grandmother, because we would talk all the way. It's like 5 mile walking, going 5 mile walking back. And we just talk and things.
And also, our grandmother was a midwife.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that, because I used to have to help her get ready with her little bag to go and deliver kids, and see what she puts in there, and she would explain to me, how the baby was born and what she has to do to bring those children into the world. And her name was been known as Janan in our community. When I was growing up, 60% of the children, she was the one who brought them in the world.
And that, for me, that was a job that I used to say, Granny, I don't like when they do that. You don't scare that one of the kids die or anything like that.
She never had one child.
And she never lose. No. Of all the years she's been doing it, she never had one that passed.
And the most difficult birth, she'll come home and tell us about, and that child.
Say, she had a hard time to
no
deliver.
No deformity, nothing.
And this baby, and she did it for years and years and years, And my grandmother, I oftentimes tell people that I think that she's the most peaceable person. She's the most peaceable person I know, my grandmother. I always say, if she was like a head of government, there would be no war in the world, because that woman taught me that no matter how the situation look, she can de-escalate it. She can de-escalate it. No matter how somebody's raging and she can calm down the thing. And those are some of the qualities that I learned from her. I remember one specific lesson that I've learned from my grandmother. I remember somebody was living at the house in one of her rented apartments, or 6-month rent, and I never forget this. And I overheard this person asking my grandmother for money to borrow. And the person is asking money on top of owing her 6-month rent. And I was young, I probably around 13, 14 at the time. And I was so upset when I know that this person owed her 6-month rent and asking for money to borrow. And I was so mad that I went to my granduncle, which is my grandmother's brother, and I said to her that, you gotta run this person out of the house, and she can't be owing money and borrowing money at the same time. And my grandmother didn't say anything to me at the same time, and she waited like probably around an hour or so. And then she called me and said, come here, my picnic. Exact word that she used. She said, come here, my picnic. And she said to me, this woman have her children, and if I run her out, where's she gonna bring her children? And she said, my picnic, people value more than money. And I never forget that. So that's one of my big lessons growing up that my grandmother taught me, and it's stick with me until this day, that if I see somebody in need, And I know I can help. I always try my best to do something to do. So that's one of my lessons.
Yeah, I remember one time I was crying because there was so much I had to do. And she said to me, all what you're doing is what God wants you to do. And one day you'll benefit from it.
Yes. So
I used to have to cook, wash, go to the market, do my homework, take care of Peter. And at that time, my brother telling my age.
you was very young. Not very young. So
I mean,
yeah.
extremely young.
And because of that, you learn to do a lot of things.
And I told people I've been cooking, washing, and cleaning from the day I was born. I can remember doing all of that as a child. Talking about your old journey right there, I will have to be cleaning or doing something. But you know what? We were loved.
Yes.
There was love amongst us. We grew up loving. We grew up with a little, but we grew up with a lot of love. Because our grandmother, our mother, especially my dad, yes. But you know, in Jamaica, men don't show affection. I know my dad loved me, but like now, when you grab your daughter, put her in your hand, we didn't grow up that way. Because in their scene, young girls, you know, you don't hold your young girls in their hand. Your dad will pat you, and you know that the love is there by the way how your dad treated you. You know the affection. If you want something, so on and so on. But when it comes to the love, the giving, we grew up that way. My mom and my grandmother will not go to bed and know that my next door neighbor, whatever we have, it has to share. And we never, as children rather, we had never rebelled to say, why are you giving that person and we don't have enough? We just know that this is how our parents are. They're going to share whatever we have. It will share. And we're comfortable with it. If somebody come, I remember when my mother went and get my grandfather that he was sick and my mom didn't know where her dad is for years. Just dropped out of her life. And my mom found where my grandfather was and went and get my grandfather. And took one of us off the bed and put us in a room where how much of us was. And we love our grandfather until the day he left us hurt. I was talking to my brother the other day. I remember the Friday. I remember the time my grandfather died. I remember what my mom said because I could see my grandfather didn't look good the Friday morning. And in the afternoon, the neighbor across the street, my mom said, go and get Miss Lies. And I knew something was wrong. At that time, they said that my grandfather was traveling. But as a child, you heard, I'm looking at them like, traveling? What the hell are they talking about traveling?
Where is he going?
Where is he going? And he can't move out the bed. And she's talking about my grandfather is traveling. But we have to be obedient. We couldn't ask no question. Like now, kids will go, where grandpa going?
Yeah.
We couldn't. Your grandmother said, your grandmother, your grandfather, or your whoever adult said do something, you go do it. You don't question it. So my cousin and I went and get this lady. The lady came. When the lady came, she and my mom walked to the side and they talked. And all I know, I see a piece of white cloth came out. And by the time I look around, they sent us outside for something and I came in. My grandfather died. And I saw them, put the thing around his face, around, tie up his jaw or something they said. And, somebody went, no phone, somebody went uptown. And there was no doctor, nobody came, but their funeral home, people came and they took him. And we know he died. And that's all there was. And that was the first person I was around, and we cared for our grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I remember one time we used to have to get water before it get dark, because I do not like dark. I don't go outside when it's dark. You understand? And I forget to get the water. And I said, Grandpa, I forget to get you water. And I was telling him to send Pamphor, but that was my job to get the water for him. And he said to me, my child, any day I died, go in a burying ground and lay down. You'll be all right. I don't know if it's mind over matter. From that day, I never felt scared at night. I could go anywhere, anytime, without and felt. And I know it's mind over matter. It's just my mind. It's nothing that he has done, you know. God rest in peace. But, you know, these are how, you know, we had grew up. And to see now some people, they're selfish against friends and family. They're like, okay, I got it and you don't, and ha ha ha. We're never used to that. And I pray to God, and I know I will never be like that. Whatever I have has to share. It has to, whatever is one room, one dumpling, is what they said, it's sharing. So that a part of my childhood. And a lot more, but that's
a lot
a
more.
small
So,
fraction.
I mean, that's a small fraction. And
Right.
I'm happy that we can, let me come on camera, that people can see who am I. So, this is me right here with my sister.
God bless.
God bless. So, just want to let you guys know that we grow up lovingly. You know what I mean? Knowing that, as I said, we wasn't rich, but we wasn't suffering either.
Right.
Alright? So,
I told somebody one day, we grew up loving, sharing, and caring. Those are my three. Cause that's all I can remember growing up.
And I think because of that, that's the reason why we can still have great relationship.
Yes.
Even today. You know what I mean? Because you got family who say, oh, I'm not going to talk to family and anything. But I'm happy that I can say we are blessed.
Amen.
And I'm happy to know that you're here today.
Yeah.
So next time when we meet, we're probably going to meet in Georgia.
Yes, and I got to tell you about how I meet my sister Hedna.
Okay.
And after I met my sister Hedna, what I did, have you ever heard about it? Let me give you a quick brief. Sister Hedna, we had known about her. We heard that my dad have these 4 other children from day one, but they was not living with us. Sister Hedna, I heard about Roy. Roy used to come down. I won't go into that story, but Sister Edna, at that time, we used to do letters, so she would write to us and vice versa. And after I met Sister Hedna, and she came, and we all get to know each other, and I'm like, oh my God, get to love my sister. Oh my God, from the first day. And when she left, the weekend I went on a bus. I was 9 years old. I took the bus to find her home.
You did? I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, ask Sister Edna.
I don't remember that.
2 King Street, right in front of Maypen Cemetery. I heard she tell us the address.
We moved from there.
And I found there.
Denham Town.
Huh?
Denham Town.
What?
Denham Town. She used to live.
Yeah.
Right in front of Maypen Cemetery.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. And I found it. I went on the big yellow bus.
Yeah.
And I found Sister Edna. When she opened the door, she started to cry. And I started to cry. End of story. I never forget that.
Wow. I just didn't remember that. I probably know about it, but don't remember it.
From that day, my sister and I are like this. Like this.
You remember when she was moving?
Yep. Oh, you mean? If I what? So I say I have to go into that another day.
Yeah, I understand. But
Yep. When Chris come down and live, all of that.
Yeah.
When Chris almost drowned, all of that. Yeah. All of that.
That's life.
Yep. That's life.
Life.
That's why I said it's a lot. Our life, and it's love. Yep. Yep.
So, that saying, we're going to wrap it up because
It's very emotional.
it's a very, very busy day.
Yeah.
And she's got to be flying out. That's why
Yes.
we make sure we say we're going to have this little sit down and just chat and thing like that. So,
Where's my phone?
Yeah.
so sis,
God
much
bless.
love.
You too.
God bless. Safe flight.
Thank you.
and
We see each other.
see each other soon.
Okay.
And we can do it again. Next
All
time
right.
I'm coming, I'm bringing my camera. We'll do it again. All right?
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
God bless.
Right now.